Hello and welcome to Rand class. So for a long time I've been talking about how we need to know bias and find the right data and know who is speaking and from where they come. And then I realized I have only told fractions about me, about my disease and my disabilities. So in this personal episode I will try and talk about myself, my life, and who and what I am. So you might know my bias and where I'm from, where I've learned my wisdom and knowledge. And I have talked a lot about stuff in my life, and there's episodes about it. So if you find something in here you wish I went into more details with, that might actually already be an episode about that. So, where to start? I'm a white man in my mid-30s and father of one, single, and I'm a pedagogue. The English translation to that is kindergarten teacher. But it's not really a kindergarten teacher, we do a lot more than that. But let's go back some years. I was born in the north part of Denmark, where my family was known due to my grandparents being part of a resistance group during World War II called Resistensgruppen. And I was born to my mom, surprise, and a dad with alcohol problems. And when I was around a year and a half, she broke up with him and moved to the other end of the country to study to become a teacher. While there, she met my dad, the man I've called dad for all my life, and I will do for the rest of my life. And a few years after that, my sister was born. And not long after, we moved to a farm in a different city. We did live on that farm for around 13 years. And while we lived there, I was going to school, a school where I was bullied by teachers and kids alike. And I even tried to kill myself a few times without anyone knowing about it, or them knowing how bad I actually felt. And I didn't tell them because my mom had been diagnosed with a depression. And to spare them, I just didn't tell them. And I didn't tell them until a month before I had to stop at school, because I just broke down. I couldn't do it anymore. Then I went to a school for kids with dyslexia. It was an okay year. Still got bullied, and then they made me unsure on what I was, because the school now told me that I was not dyslexia. And when I got home after a year at school, where the only exam they had was math, I was told by my parents I had to take 9th grade so I can get the exam, and I had to go back to school. This time in a different city, the neighbor city. But since a lot of the stuff they talked about and teach was something I've already had on the other school, I found a job instead on a farm and just worked instead of going to school. When the school finally called my parents and told them that I hadn't been in school for months, my parents of course got mad, but then I told them why, and that I have worked every day at a farm, and they came around and were like, okay. During that time, the local government told me that I had to go to some sort of school, and I got allowed to try out the farming school for about 4 months. When I got back from that school after 4 months and I had to go back to work on the farm, they told me they had to let me go. The dad had become ill and they needed to hire someone with more experience than me. So they had to let me go to hire that person. Then my dad told me that don't try to become a farmer. It's not worth the time. You have to work every day full time, and you might even have to get a job at the side just to make money. And those words stuck with me because I remembered how much work we have done on the farm and how he had to have 2 jobs trying to support us all. So I was allowed to actually try out a lot of different stuff. There was this giant school with a lot of educations at the same place, and I was allowed to try all of them out to find out which one called to me. And at first I actually went for electrician because I found it interesting, but I had a hard time with doing the papers and stuff. So after 2 tries, I then went for cook, and then I found out I rather wanted to be a baker. And I did do graduate the base course as a baker and worked for some years as a baker. I never got my exam though. I worked in different bakeries, and the first boss disliked me, so he fired me. After that, I found jobs in shops and became a salesman and stuff like that. And then the school contacted me after some years and said, "Why don't you go back to becoming a baker?" And then I found a place where, sadly, the baker was an alcoholic, so I quit. And then I got to a baker where he was rather insane. He fired one employee for coming 5 minutes late once. And then the last place, they worked me down. I had horrible weeks where I worked 13, 16 hours a day. And it was the same time my daughter was born, so I had a lot going on. And then I went down with stress. And the boss was not even there, he was on holiday. Even though 2 other full-time bakers had gone down with stress just before me, and all their work were piled on me, I was told that I was not good enough, and then they dropped me. And then I really got mental problems. The stress brought it up, and I was told that most of my life I probably had a depression, but I have been able to live with it. But due to the stress, I was no longer able to handle it. And then I was diagnosed with moderate to severe depression, manic depression, or bipolar depression as it's called today, and different kinds of anxiety and other problems. So after living with me for 8 years, my ex left me. And to be honest, I do understand why. I was no longer the same, and for half of the time we were together, I was in a really bad place. After she left me, I was offered a place to go where other people like me also went. And that actually led to a good place because it got me out of the bubble and got me started down the road. And I began to improve myself. And during one of the classes, I was told by a teacher that due to how much I've been through and my high level of empathy and care, I would be a great pedagogue because I could relate to everyone and I understand most people. And then she told me what to do and how to do it. And then I began down that road, and for once I was good in school, and I was now told for real that I had dyslexia. Due to I'm not able to hear the letters, the noise they make, so I have a hard time spelling words that are told to me because I can't hear that letter sound. But yeah, I actually did get good grades for once in my life. And it was amazing to actually feel like I was good at something, I was okay at something. And I actually helped teach some of the others in a certain degree. And even though I had a teacher who told me I should not pass, I actually ended up passing that as well. And then I went all the way. Sadly, during my pedagogue education, I was forced to work 6 months at my old school. A lot did happen at that time in my life as well, but just that was such a massive blow that I actually tried to kill myself again. And surprise, I survived. I was brought back to life by paramedics. But then I actually went to that school, and then I passed my exam. It was hard work. The school was still very hard to be on, but I passed. And now I'm an educated pedagogue with a specialty for school kids. So that's age 6 to 18. It doesn't mean I can't work with kids lower than 6 or adults. We all got taught about that, but I just chose to specialize at that age group. And during my time, I actually worked with most of that age group. And I have worked as a pedagogue for some years now. But that is in short who I am, and where I get my drive and my bias and how I find my data due to my education and what I have learned through my life. And again, due to my education, I have learned how to take all the data and things from my life and put it into something I can teach others. And then I met some people, and after some time, they told me I should do like a YouTube channel or something, because I have a lot of stuff to talk about. And then one day, one of them said, "Why don't you make a podcast?" And here we are. I don't know what more to say. I skipped a lot in there, really a lot. But if you want to talk to me about something of it, or you find something in it interesting, try and look up other episodes, or find me on Reddit, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram. And if you want to find the episodes, you can find them on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. So I hope you all have a nice day. And remember, life is a mix of bad stuff and good stuff. But even in most of the bad stuff, there's a small part of it that you can use to turn into light, something that can be taught to you, that can make your life better. And during that time, making your life better, maybe make other people's life better. And remember, you are never truly alone. When you feel down, there's always people out there. You just have to find them. So lots of love and care for me, and have a very nice day. This has been Rad Class.